As of now, we don't believe you were a target unless that's changed of this investigation.
Well, we don't know, Ali. Right now, I can't find an email from, and believe it or not, they let us know by email. I can't find an email in my spam box from Apple, but at this point, I don't know. But again, I know you asked, like, I'm speaking tongue in cheek, but we don't begin to know how wide this goes. We've asked the Justice for a complete list of who was subpoenaed, whose family members, whose children. We haven't gotten that list.
Staff members, okay. It doesn't sound right, but okay, I get it. But their families. There were some children on this list. What do we think this is?
Well, it almost makes you wonder whether you get into the realm of intimidation, right? Not only children, well, a minor child apparently was one of the phone records or text records that was demanded. I mean, it almost begins to feel like intimidation rather than what it almost most certainly was, which was an effort to go after the president's political opponents. And remember, the key part of this story, there's a lot of importance here, but the key part is that very shortly after this investigation began, prosecutors determined that there was nothing there. So, we need to understand why it was originated, and then we also need to understand why Attorney General Bill Barr restarted that investigation. And finally, we need to understand not just who was involved in this, but what else? What else? Remember, I think a lot about the intelligence community. Remember that two of the president's most loyal supporters, John Ratcliffe and Rick Grinnell, were the director of national intelligence for a lengthy period of time. What did they do inside the intelligence apparatus? And I'm not saying I know, I'm not making allegations, but why do we believe that this stops with the Department of Justice? What other federal entity was compromised to work Donald Trump's political interests?
What do we need to do? We've heard from Apple. We've heard from Microsoft now to say that they were also approached and there was a gag order on them. What do we have to do to make sure that our tech companies, which basically know more about us than we know about ourselves, are not subject to political whims of people in office? Is that a legislative matter? Is that a matter of investigating it? What do we do about that?
Well, they're in a tough place, right? Because when the DOJ says you can't talk about this because national security is at stake, there is a threat that they might be prosecuted if they violate that order. But hopefully those tech companies have learned, and they are learning slowly with things like, taking Donald Trump off Facebook and Twitter. Hopefully they have learned that they can be complicit if they're not careful, if they don't reflect on what it is exactly that they're doing. They may be complicit in the destruction of our own democracy. So we have a responsibility as Congress to make it clear that things like the First Amendment, going after reporters, aren't going to fly. Because at the end of the day, the Department of Justice is funded by the United States Congress. So we have a say here, and we need to make sure that we use that say. But the tech companies themselves, they've got some navel gazing to do, some self-reflection to do right now, because they could easily, as I've demonstrated, be complicit in the destruction of our democracy.